So when I was much younger, me and health were not under the same radar, absolutely, because of my unhealthy habits of eating a lot of junk foods, noodles, bread, fried foods, and not letting any meal pass without a sweet post-it. And if you ask me about fruits and vegetables, they were not even close to being my friends. And no wonder why, I was a very constipated child, and as I entered into my teens, I had painful periods and acne would pay me visits on and off. And look at the irony, here I am as an integrative nutritionist and health coach talking to you about health. Now, if I ask you one most important thing to attain great health, I'm sure you will tell me that it's food, healthy food. And I absolutely agree with you. But I also partly disagree. Because in my experience of coaching, I've seen clients who followed a healthy food pattern and eaten well and made sure that they're eating healthy, but still haven't, attained their health goals. And that got me thinking deeper, that what is it that is not allowing them to reach their desired health goals? And when I dug in a little deeper into their lives, I realized that food is extremely important to give us the energy for all the bodily functions, and that acts as a nourishment on the plate. But there are many sources of nourishment off the plate, which is called primary food, which satisfy our hunger for life, like relationships, love, connections, spirituality, purpose, fulfillment, movement. And whenever these aspects are strained or lacking in our life, we cannot attain our best health. So primary food, in short, is basically your love for art, your passion for music. It is that little warm hug from your mom or that long, refreshing talk with a friend. It is that appreciation at work or seeing your child walk for the first time. Or it is as simple as spending that quality me time with yourself or finishing that book that you've always wanted to read. Are you still confused? Then let me give you some more scenarios. Think about a time when you picked up a project which you were really excited about and you felt super confident, stimulated, time kind of stopped and the outside world faded away. And food was not even on your mind. In fact, someone would have to come by and tell you and remind you to eat. Or remember that time when you were a kid and you were playing with your friends and your mom called you and said, listen, come up and get your dinner. And you were like, Mom, I'm not yet hungry. But of course, after enough coaxing of your mom, you had to go up and eat that dinner, eat a few bites, and then rush out again to play because that was more interesting and that filled you up with a lot of happiness. So, do you see any similarities in these scenarios? Well, it's the daily things of life which fill us with a lot of meaning, wonder, and they bring us alive. Clearly, it's very obvious that when you're immersed in things that you truly love doing, or when you're with people, when you're around people who you really love and really matter to you, that's the time when you're thriving, and that becomes your primary nourishment, and your actual food becomes secondary to give you the energy that you need to do all the functions of your body, and so that you can do things that you love and you enjoy. Because you can eat all the almonds and broccoli in this world, but if you are not nourishing yourself on a holistic level, you are not going to experience vibrant health. So, why don't we put in our intentions into feeding our mind, heart, and souls, and not just always zeroing down to what we are putting into our mouth? So, let's talk about primary food, that is nourishment off the plate. And the first one is movement. Now, we all know that our bodies are meant to move. In fact, our body thrives on movement, and when we don't move it enough, it gets degenerated. But today, with the excessive sitting culture, all that we are moving is our fingertips, our mouth, and our mind to overthink. And when we talk about movement, the only thing that we focus on is that 1 hour of exercise in the gym, which I wouldn't deny is extremely important because we are living a sedentary lifestyle. But what is more important is consciously moving our body every few hours, because we are clearly not hunting for food like the Stone Age men did. So we need to take those movement breaks every few hours in the day and do things for ourselves, like making your own bed, getting yourself a glass of water without asking for it from anyone else, or ditching the lift for a flight of stairs as many times as possible through the day. I'm sure you get the point. And for all those people who don't like going to the gym, the good news is that you don't need to go to the gym. All you need to do is find that form of activity that you find very enjoyable and that you find fun. It could be dance, Zumba, yoga, Pilates, swimming, or any other form that actually makes you jump out of your bed, get into your workout gear, and get moving. So basically, if you go to see, movement in ways is like food, right? Once you understand the kind of movement that nourishes you, you can put a menu of activities together to bring you back in balance and a positive state of mind, because we all know that movement is the easiest way to release those happy hormones. The next is relationships. Okay, go back in time and recall an episode where you had a tiff with your friend or a family member. I'm sure it's not a pleasant episode, right? And also that day would have been very displeasing in many ways. The point I'm trying to make here is the quality of our relationships with our close ones, like your family members, parents, spouse, your friends, your co-worker, has a direct impact on the quality of your life and your health. And because we are social beings and we literally flourish on love, connection, communication, and intimacy as forms of food for our soul, the best way you can ensure great health for yourself is by strengthening your relationships with your loved ones, by accepting them more and expecting less out of them, having honest communications, forgiving them easily, non-judgmental listening, and having compassion in your heart towards them. The next is career. Now, we don't even realize, but we are spending half of our waking hours at work. And how many of us really enjoy what we are doing? Only if we realize that our work has a great impact on our health and we really, really feel super healthy when we do the work we love, we would all be super healthy beings. So if you are somebody who's just starting out, then I'd suggest jot down a list of all the things that you love doing, including your hobby and things you do in your leisure time. And the key to your career lies in that list. But if at this point changing your career is not a possibility, no worries. You can always evaluate your job and see what works for you and what doesn't, and then make adjustments according to that. Maybe you can ask for what you need, and voice your opinion. So any of these things will help you feel more rewarded in your job. So ask for an appraisal, ask to be a part of a project, or just maybe revamp your workspace. All of this really helps you be nourished and healthy when you're doing the work you love and you get fairly paid for it. Stress management. Now just reflect on the times, we use synonyms of stress during our day, like I'm so fed up, I'm so stressed, I'm so worked up, I'm so tensed. And usually these are used for really trivial day-to-day activities, like maybe your child not listening to you, or you're not being able to finish your work deadlines, or as small as your cook not showing up. But do we even realize what we are doing to ourselves with the amount of stress that we are taking? And you know what? The best part is we are the only species on this planet who can create stress for ourselves by overthinking or assuming a scenario which is not going to happen, never happened, and may actually never happen in your life. And the repercussions of this kind of a stressful lifestyle is that our body moves into a flight and fight mode where it prioritizes survival, and it slows down other functions in the body like your digestion, absorption, excretion, detoxification, because it wants to survive and feel safe. And when this stress gets prolonged and you're constantly in a stress state, this shutdown of your body is the main reason why you start getting health issues and bigger diseases later in life. So the best way to improve your health is by being aware of your stressors and managing your stress really well and experience great health for yourself. So for me, what's really worked is breath work and meditation practice, like for as less as 10 minutes every morning, and taking quick breathing breaks during the day to check in with myself if I'm really stressed out. So 4-7-8 breathing, a box breathing, which is 4-4-4-4, like you inhale for 4 counts, you hold for 4, then you exhale for 4 counts, and you hold before the next inhale. So these are techniques which really work. Or you could simply just do deep belly breathing or be with your breath, and that can help you lower your stress levels. And another great way to manage stress is journaling, where you just pen down all your thoughts, emotions, feelings, and you literally clear your mind and feel light, happy, and relaxed. The next is joy. Now, remember, the time when you did something that really filled you with joy. When was the last time you did something like that? No, I'm not talking about the extra bucks you made or the swanky car you bought for yourself. I'm talking about those little things that fill you with joy. It could be as simple as building sandcastles with your child, spending quality time with your grandparents, or just donating something you love, but to someone who really needs it more than you. This joy really fills us with great health. But today what has happened is we live or we get trapped in this FOMO, fear of missing out culture, and we attach our happiness to material things, and we indulge in acts and activities and things that we think that society will approve, but what really brings us true happiness is not what we are focusing on. And this takes us away from our health and ourselves and pushes us towards not so much of great health. So the best thing you can do is, again, go back in time and think of all the activities that you did as a child which gave you so much joy, or you felt super happy and joyful, and even as an adult, things that give you joy. And then spare a few minutes every day for those activities, and you'll see the magic for yourself. The next thing is, of course, this is all that we spoke about was nourishment off the plate. But we have to talk about nourishment on the plate because that's also important, right? And it's very important to understand that nourishing yourself on the plate is not that difficult. We all know that when we choose wholesome, natural, nature-given foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes, sprouts, we are way more healthier, right? But it's not only about what you eat, it's about how you eat your food. If you are somebody who cannot eat without a screen in front of you, or you're always eating in a hurry because you're always in a rush, then let me tell you, you are definitely not absorbing or getting any benefits from the food that you're eating, no matter how healthy you are eating. Because eating is a meditative act, and you need to be present with your food if you want your body to digest, absorb, and assimilate the nutrients well from it. And the best way you can improve your health by eating in a good way is by being present with your food and allowing yourself some time to observe your food. Make sure that you say a small prayer of gratitude to the food that you're eating, and set an intention of, set a positive intention before you take the first bite. Look at your food, eat with your senses, smell your food, eat with your hands. And lastly, chew your food at least 20 to 30 times each bite. And do not forget to take few deep breaths after you finish your meal, because that's the time you're putting your body into rest and digest mode, where your body can make absolute sense of every morsel that you've eaten. So guys, health is a very simple, uncomplicated affair. Let's uncomplicate it by prioritizing our physical, mental, and emotional needs and taking those small baby steps towards a fulfilling life. I wish you all great health and success and happiness in everything that you do. Thank you.